Data source from the world's largest mining pool, Foundry, suggests that Texas is the #1 American state for mining Bitcoin, hosting 28.5% of the country's hash rate. Foundry and CoinDesk are both owned by DCG. Joining us now is Foundry Business Development Vice President Jeff Burkey. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. Now, we're talking all about Texas. The data that was published said that about 30% of the hash rate is there in Texas. Now, this data was compiled in July. So are you expecting that number to be higher or lower right now?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, Texas and we've had a really hot summer in Texas, and so there's a lot of curtail going on there. So we wouldn't be surprised to see that actually tick up as things cool off in the fall. But when we last published this map, it's amazing how much has changed, right? We published it towards the end of 21, and at that time, the global network was under 200 exahash, and we're over 400 exahash now. So this was a time when, a few months after the China ban. So you had all these Chinese miners scrambling and searching the world for the cheapest power. And so it's no surprise that some of them found a home in Texas, right? This is a state that, has long history in energy production. And so I think miners are always looking for the absolute cheapest power. And so those are the states they're going to gravitate towards.
I'm going to guess that power is coming not from solar, despite all the sunlight that Texas gets. Does it have to do with the fact that you have a legislature in Texas that seems to be, let's say, not too concerned about whether or not we all burn to death from.
Look, I think there's a lot of solar and wind projects, and that's why so much of the mining is taking place in West Texas. So this is. I think what we're learning is that Bitcoin is really going to act as a bridge between where we are today and where we want to be in a renewable future. So this,
how much of the energy that goes into mining do we know comes from renewable sources versus Texas T?
This is. I think that data is approaching 50% is coming from renewables, right? So, and not only is the Bitcoin network getting more sustainable from a renewables perspective over time, but the machines themselves are getting more efficient, right? So as the technology improves on the machines, you're getting the same compute power for for the same energy consumption. So this is. It's been remarkable how efficient that the network has grown from 200 to 400. And look, to put that move in perspective, by the way, that's 2 million machines that it takes to go from a 200 exahash network to a 400 network. So there's a lot of machines moving around the globe. And it's we're going to continue to see this growth. I mean, all three major manufacturers just released. We're kind of going from this era of on the network right now. The average machine is probably somewhere between 30 and 35 joules a terahash on an efficiency basis, and these machines are now sub 20 joules per terahash. So it's almost twice as efficient, and those machines are gonna start to ship later this year and early next year. So again, the network's growth is going to continue, and the efficiency is going to continue to improve as well.
So you mentioned miners sort of moving from China to Texas. I'm just curious, where the U.S. now ranks just in terms of a mining power. I mean, where are sort of the big competitors for mining now that China isn't as prominent as it once was?
I think the U.S. and North America in general is dominating the Bitcoin network for sure. And I think, in the U.S., you kind of see it state by state, right? So Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, some of these states that are great for mining have a friendly regulatory environment, and people and hence the miners are gravitating towards those states. Other states like New York, which is an amazing state for mining as far as the temperature, the climate, a lot of hydro energy, cheap power, but the the regulators there don't want to embrace this technology, and it's unfortunate to see that. But I think you're also seeing some of the hash rate move to areas like South America and Africa. And that's the incredible thing about this network and this technology is it's just constantly going to seek out the most efficient and lowest cost energy sources.
It's interesting that you talk about North America dominating mining because, as we know, in the U.S., there's been, quite a regulatory crackdown, which is obviously related. But I guess, is there any argument to be made that mining actually creates jobs in the United States in a significant way? Are you seeing that at all?
Yeah, it does. And I think it's creating these high-paying jobs with, a lot of these sites require technicians to run these sites. And these are in rural areas, right? So these are areas that are in desperate need of new job growth. And again, I think, we're, Foundry's setting up a site and we're on the ground now doing a major job fair at this site, and the town's thrilled to have us. So I think, the states and the communities that embrace this technology are going to win.
All right. In other mining news, Bitcoin miner Marathon Digital mined an invalid Bitcoin block recently. They said it was due to a bug during an experiment. Can you just unpack what happened here, why it happened? Does it mean that Marathon's network is less secure?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, this is... I haven't dug into this too much. I did see this headline, but Marathons usually they're more or less solo or self mining, right? That's their hash rate. They're and there's challenges that come with that, and I think that's why a lot of institutional miners choose to use a pool like Foundry, because we take all that risk and technology, operational technology off of their plates. And so I just think that. That I think in some ways this shows the beauty of the network, right? Like it's completely transparent and open. The minute a transaction like this occurs, it's all over Twitter and people on CoinDesk are talking about it. And so there's no hiding in Bitcoin, and I think that's the real beauty here.
Jeff, thanks very much for joining us this morning and unpacking that data you recently published.
Yeah. Oh, thanks again for having us. Appreciate it.
That was Foundry Business Development Vice President Jeff Burkey.